I'm going to attempt to survive the next 200 days in Elden Ring to find the Mother A3, and if I couldn't find it within the given days, the save file will be deleted forever. And if you want to see the first 100 days, link in the description. But before that, we're almost at 500 subscribers, so if you could even consider subscribing, it means a ton. So after the battle with General Radon, I traveled back to the Limegrave, the descent into the Nokron Eternal City to begin Ronnie's quest. In this quest, I had to defeat the Ancestral Spirit to make Ronnie the Queen. So after waking up the Ancestral Spirit, I was teleported into an underground battlefield to face this ancient beast. This was my first time battling an actual animal that I could recognize. It looked like Santa Claus reindeer, but still, it was a very enticing creature. The whole experience reminded me of the Shadow of Colossus, and I felt like killing this magical beast wasn't the right move. After the battle, I went back to the surface and boom, I'm in Khalid again. There was these two giant golems who were waiting for me on the surface. They were the gods of the Great Jar. So I dropped them quickly and went straight for the big boss. Lo and behold, he just wanted to test my strength with his adversaries. So the first one was the Duelist Knight of the Great Jar. He was very fast with his movements and attacks because of his small weapon, but his attacks were weak and couldn't penetrate my armor, so I dropped him quickly. The second duelist was a samurai with an anime level accuracy and power. He was also wearing a good armor, so it took a couple of blows for me to drop him. And finally, the Hammer of God. He was very similar to me because of his heavy weapon and shield. And as expected, he was slow, but his attacks were insane, to the point that I had to keep my distance if I wanted to win. And I was expecting the Great Jar to jump in any minute, but he just stood there as if nothing happened, even though I was dropping his man left and right. And after the battle, the Great Jar gave me his arsenal, which dramatically increased my equipment load. Riding back to the Midwood Forest, I noticed broken pieces of land levitating in the sky and defying gravity. There, I caught up with Bladed, and he informed me of a trader that needed to be taken care of. So onwards to the Nokron City again. I was passing across the bridge and suddenly I faced this Mimic Tier, a creature that morphs into the player. So basically, I was fighting myself. And I knew how to defeat me because, duh, I was a heavy hitter but slow. So I kept my distance from me and started attacking me without giving me a chance to move. I was also drinking tears to replenish my HP, and that wasn't a good sign because now the battle was dragging. At the end, I was able to defeat me because I was better than me. Duh. After crossing the bridge, I made my way to the Sofra Aqueduct under the water well, and lo and behold, the valiant Gargoyle twins. The worst part of this battle was that I didn't knew there was two of them, because the second one didn't show up until the end of the first battle, and now there was two flying cockroaches to bully me. Their heads were small, so I knew they were stupid, because there was no accuracy in their attacks, and they didn't even knew how to work as a team. The battle was frustrating because I had to deal with two stupid cockroaches, and there was no way to run because of their spicy farts. It not only burnt my eyes but also suffocated my holes all around, and now I had to maneuver the fight with my holes blocked. But soon I was able to disintegrate them into non-existence. Going back to the Limegrave, it never occurred to me to visit the Stormvale Castle after defeating Margaret, so it was a breeze going through all the places while decimating anything that moved. This whole castle reminded me of Dark Souls 3 and it was very nostalgic. As for the big boss, I was in for a treat. Behold, the Lord of all that's golden, Godric the Grafted. I must say, he was a very premium boss and he was oozing with royalty. Very different from Margaret, as he was conservative with his attacks, but there was actually two parts to this battle. As soon as he chopped off his hand and shoved it into the dragon's head, I was screaming my lungs off, like how badass this Lord of Golden was. And the dragon was shooting fire out of its mouth, like what? Incredible enemy design and backstory. Shame I dropped him quickly than his girlfriend a few years ago. Okay, back to Ronnie's quest. I went to the Carrion study hall to collect something for Ronnie, which I don't remember, and it moved something in the study hall, but we will have to find out. Oh, the entire building is upside down. And I came across this elevator which took me straight to the bridge of the tower. And lo and behold, the flapping babushki was waiting for me. So after dealing with babushki, I went up to the tower to get the curse mark of the dead. I went back to Ronnie to give her the curse mark, but instead I found this portal which took me to the Ensil Revel Main, where Ronnie got in touch with me through a voodoo doll. There was also a fruit hanging in the middle of the ruins waiting for me. I mean the malformed star. Oh lord, this thing is much more terrifying than I remember. But I was able to insecticide it quickly. Soon I reached the land of Norcastella, where I made my way through the Eternal City and into the tunnels, where I met the evil ghost of Bladed. I was a competent warrior by now, but this guy had some personal grudge or something because he was actually trying to kill me. So I had to struggle before putting him down. From there, I made my way to the Lake of Rot. Literally the only thing that I hate the most in the entire game because of the trauma I suffered from battling the Exile Dragon. But I was able to get inside the Grand Cluster, where I slept inside a tomb, and the Lake of Rot dropped me 6 feet underground. And oh my, even my soul wasn't ready for what I was about to see. The moment I saw it, my eyes traveled to the galaxies and beyond. Lo and behold, the astral natural bone of the void, or you could call it the Daddy Star. A mesmerizing creature with beautiful pair of wings and a body that's made up of galaxies with a sharp tail. And where to begin with the face? A terrifying human skull with 2 sets of claws, ready to snatch you if you dare to get close. Like it would throw galaxy balls at me and would try to sting me with his sharp tail. If that wasn't enough, it would disappear in the void and would suddenly appear behind me and would grab me with his claws. And if that wasn't enough, it would literally manipulate the gravity to make me useless. It had so many tricks up its sleeve that I was ready to give up, because it had both close and long distance attacks with precision that was out of this world. So I had to get inside because I couldn't avoid his attacks. And with the help of my Crimson Tears and heavy attacks, I was able to send it back to the void. So afterwards, I went to the Academy of Rhea Lucaria. This was my first time visiting the academy, and I didn't know what to expect. And I was kindly greeted by the sorcerers. I was wondering where did they came from when we first met back in the Celia town of sorcery, and apparently this is their origin place. The academy was beautiful, very intellectual, I must say. Books, papers, inks, libraries in every corner. The first boss I encountered was this red dog, which I had seen before, and it made me realize that I was supposed to visit this place in the beginning, not when I'm at level 9000, because everyone was weak, embarrassingly weak. The only thing that I couldn't stop was this rolling ball coming towards me down the stairs. When I reached the main library in the academy, I was greeted by the students of this kind lady called Renola, the Queen of the Full Moon, but there was no resemblance between her and the moon. And the students were these crawling thirsty creeps who would bite me if I get too close. But I was able to crack the moon lady and dropped her back to our level. To my surprise, this wasn't even her final form. She took me to her void with a moon for background, hence why she was claiming to be the moon lady. She was no different from other sorcerers, but she could summon a ghost dragon to help her, which was pretty sick, but you know how it ends. So after the battle, I got the dark moon ring from one of the chests and traveled to the grand lift of the Dectos to ascend into the Altos Latos. There I met 2 giant golems, and the hospitality was very good. They didn't even care about my presence until I tried to fight them myself. Afterwards, I traveled to the Woodfolk Ruins, the origin of the A3. I was minding my own business until I came face to face with a worm face. Yes, literally, a worm face was spitting poison at me every time I tried to get close. The disrespect, man. And I couldn't just let him go after such an heinous action, so I swept him off his feet. I was exploring as usual until I came across the Windmill Village. There, I met the celebrants. They were creepy as a flipping toaster. They were smiling, singing, and dancing, but ready to fight if someone attacked them. Moving on, I traveled to the Mount Gelmir, where I crossed the bridge towards the mountain. I accidentally came across the battlefield, where each side was worse than the other. As I got close, I saw the most horrifying view ever. The trolls were tortured and hanged upside down for everyone to witness. I don't know why the trolls always get the short end of the stick. Anyways, climbing up the Mount Gelmir, I saw a bull-looking creature waiting, introducing the full-grown falling star beast, which had some similar features to the Daddy Star from the previous battle. And this was a very energetic battle. To my surprise, none of us had any long distance attacks. So it was the battle of the fists with raw power to see who will rise to the top. And of course, yours truly proved again who's the Alpha Giga Chat. Climbing down the mountain, I faced yet another boss, the ulcerated tree spirit. I can't put it to words, like, what is this creature? A lizard, a wingless dragon worm, a tree with legs, and it breathes fire. So I still cannot process this creature in my brain, but safe to say I flushed it down the toilet. And oh, this is the worm face I was talking about, but without the covering. Indeed, a very sick individual who needs love and compassion. So I exactly did that. Anyways, traveling back to the Altus Platus to the capital outskirts to get inside the royal capital. There was a tree sentinel guarding the gate. So you know what that means, right? Drop that bitch! So after dropping the tree sentinel, I made my way inside until I was able to see the royal capital, or as I call it, the Golden Castle. A very enthralling view with a perplexing architecture and a dead dragon laying on the castle to complement it. It was the biggest dragon I had ever came across, and as I looked up, I finally saw the Mother A3. It was so close yet so far away, and I couldn't wait to get inside it. So I slowly made my way down to the castle while admiring the architecture of this place. There I met these Gothic soldiers again, and these pesky soldiers always get on my nerves. On the ground, the beauty of this place was even more jaw-dropping. I traveled to every corner of this capital, from the top of the building to the main street and into the underground tunnels. As beautiful as it was, there wasn't much there except for teasing these low-level enemies, until the donkey lady came to me and told me that she was leaving somewhere and that I was supposed to become the Elden Lord. Like, what? I just wanted to see the Mother A3 up close, but you know what? I'll take the title of Elden Lord. As I was climbing over the dragon, I noticed how big this creature was up close. Inside the capital, I came across this abandoned building, which was the exact replica of the Table of Lost Grace, as if this was the original place of meeting. Anyways, I made my way through one of the watchtowers by climbing this huge tree trunk, and there I faced the Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, in all its shiny golden ghost body. This Elden Lord was oozing with alpha energy, but he was extremely slow and heavy, and I was able to put him down quickly. But I feel like this won't be the last time I will be facing him. From there, I made my way to the entrance, which led me straight to the Mother A3, and I wasn't surprised that I was gonna face another boss. But as I went inside, there were 6 council chairs with a big one in the middle, and suddenly I heard a familiar voice, and it was Margaret. What the? He's still alive? Behold, Morgoth, the Omen King. This was his actual identity. What in the Holy Mother of Kings? He's actually a king? His fighting style was just like before. Close and long distance attacks with a new shiny sword. Somehow he was faster, sharper, harder, and stronger. So that wasn't even his final form when we first battled. And in the middle of the fight, he started to show some sort of weakness, but I couldn't put my finger to what was actually wrong with him. During the battle, he was evolving, and I noticed he wasn't just a boss or a king. He was actually a demigod. Like, how cool is this character? After the fight, I was gonna walk away, but I noticed his actual body. It was weak, old, and rusted. This was his actual form after living for thousands of years. He warned me that the Mother A3 won't let me to get inside. I tried to get close, but the thorns refused all. So I went back to the side of grace, and the donkey lady came to me. Her name is Melina, apparently. She told me that for me, in order to become the Elden Lord, I have to face the Elden Ring. She wanted me to travel to another place to get some sort of flames and burn the thorns to get inside. What? I'm so close yet so far away. The Soldiers of Gothic. If you want me to make a part 3, make sure to subscribe, and farewell, Tarnishes.